Hello everyone, and welcome back to Boss Economic World. I am your host, taking you through the smoke and mirrors of the financial universe to find the cold, hard cash hiding behind the headlines. Today is December 2nd, 2025. If you're holding UK Gilts, sipping tea while watching the pound gyrate like a teenager on TikTok, or just wondering why your mortgage rate refuses to die, today's episode is for you. We are discussing a resignation. Not just any resignation, but a departure that exposes the sheer, unadulterated comedy that is the British institutional infrastructure. Richard Hughes, the chairman of the Office for Budget Responsibility, the man whose job is to tell the government their math is wrong, has quit. Why? Was it a scandal involving offshore accounts? A high-stakes political betrayal? No. It was because the OBR, the watchdog of the world's sixth largest economy, stored the nation's most sensitive financial secrets at a web address that was effectively obr.com/budget-2025-please-don't-look. Folks, you cannot make this up. Today, we are going to peel back the layers of this digital onion. We're going to look at how a predictable URL triggered algorithmic chaos in the bond market, humiliated Chancellor Rachel Reeves, and why this seemingly stupid IT error is actually a flashing red warning light for the entire global financial system. Let's get into the truth. First, let's look at the crime scene. The OBR is supposed to be the fortress of fiscal credibility. It was created 15 years ago to stop politicians from cooking the books. But on November 26, just hours before Chancellor Rachel Reeves was set to deliver her crucial annual budget to Parliament, the entire document leaked. Now, in the movies, a leak involves a guy in a hoodie, typing furiously at a terminal while sweating, bypassing firewalls with complex code. In reality? The OBR report released today admits the breach happened because people entered a predictable internet address. Let me explain what that means in plain English. If last year's budget was at obr.uk/budget2024 and you were a board trader sitting in Canary Wharf with a latte, you might think, I wonder where the 2025 budget is? So you type obr.uk/budget2025. Bingo! According to the forensics, the first successful access happened at 11:35 a.m. The IP address responsible had tried 32 times prior. 32 failures. This wasn't a master hacker, this was someone playing a game of Battleship and finally hitting the destroyer. Between 11:35 a.m. and 12:07 p.m., the document was downloaded 43 times from 32 unique IP addresses. This is what the OBR calls a significant underpowered operation. I call it leaving the keys to the vault taped to the front door. Richard Hughes, in his resignation letter today, said he is taking full responsibility. Well, Richard, I should hope so. This is the institutional equivalent of a bank manager forgetting to lock the safe because he was in a rush to get to lunch. But why does this matter to you? Why should you, a savvy investor or a hard-working citizen, care about a broken URL? Here is the core economic truth: markets hate uncertainty, but they love unfair advantages. When that document leaked at 11:35 a.m., the information didn't stay with those 32 people. It hit the chat rooms. It hit the Bloomberg terminals. It hit the algorithms. Let's look at the data. On that Wednesday, before Reeves even stood up, the British pound and UK government bonds started swinging wildly. Why? Because the budget contained new borrowing figures. The OBR acts as the referee. They tell the market, the government plans to borrow X billion pounds, and we think growth will be Y%. If borrowing is higher than expected, bond yields go up. If growth is lower, the currency might tank. Traders who saw that URL early knew the numbers 30 minutes before the rest of the world. In the world of high-frequency trading, 30 minutes is an eternity. It's enough time to front-run billions of dollars in trades. Even today, on December 2nd, after Hughes fell on his sword, the 10-year gilt yield is sitting at 4.48%. That is 4 basis points higher than the open. That might sound small to the uninitiated, but in the bond market, that is the sound of trust evaporating. Let's put that 4.48% in context. Compare it to the German Bund, currently yielding significantly less. That spread, the difference between what Germany pays to borrow and what the UK pays, is the idiot tax. It's the premium investors' demand for holding the debt of a country where the budget leaks via a URL guess. The OBR report admits this wasn't a one-off. A similar breach happened in March. But nobody noticed because the market didn't move as much. This time, the gilt vigilantes, the bond traders who punish fiscally irresponsible governments, were awake. Chief Secretary to the Treasury James Murray told the House of Commons there was no evidence of hostile cyber activity. Of course there wasn't. You don't need a hostile state actor when you have bureaucratic incompetence. The National Cybersecurity Center is now reviewing historic releases. I can tell you what they'll find: the password was probably 123456. Now, let's analyze the deeper game. The Game of Thrones aspect of this economic blunder. Rachel Reeves is furious. She called this a serious error. Her big moment to shine, to present Labour's grand plan to fix the economy, was stolen by a broken web link. But, and here is the twist, is this resignation actually a gift to her? Reeves has been trying to trim the OBR's wings. Before this leak, she announced plans to reduce the OBR's power, moving from 2 assessments a year to just 1. She cited advice from the IMF, but let's be real, no chancellor likes a teacher marking their homework every 6 months. It's annoying. It limits your political freedom. Richard Hughes, the man who just resigned, had pledged to fight this move. He wanted to keep the OBR strong, independent, and annoying. Now, he's gone. His credibility is shredded. Who is going to stand up for the OBR's independence now? The organization just admitted its procedures were inadequate and called this the worst failure in its 15-year history. If you are Rachel Reeves, you are publicly angry, but privately? You might be relieved. The main obstacle to your fiscal freedom just walked out the door holding a box of his personal belongings. This echoes the disaster of 2022. Remember Liz Truss? She tried to sideline the OBR entirely for her mini-budget. Result? The pound crashed, pension funds almost collapsed, and she was outlasted by a lettuce. Reeves knows she can't ignore the OBR, but she can certainly weaken it. And the OBR just handed her the knife. The OBR's 20-page report contains a fascinating phrase. It says the task of publishing the budget is out of scale with its other activities. Think about that. The OBR is a tiny office. A handful of economists, spreadsheets, and coffee cups. Yet, twice a year, they release a document that moves trillions of dollars in global capital. This is a classic example of systemic fragility. We have built a global financial system that relies on the integrity of a PDF file uploaded by a small team in London. If that PDF is wrong, or late, or leaks, the ripple effects hit. 1. Pension funds, they hold gilts. Volatility hurts their collateral. 2. Mortgage rates, swap rates are priced off gilts. If gilts panic, your mortgage offer gets pulled. 3. Corporate investment, companies freeze hiring when they don't know what the tax rate will be. The report called the operation well-planned but significantly underpowered. That is the story of the UK economy in 2025. We have world-class ambitions, world-class financial centers, but the plumbing, the infrastructure, the IT systems, the grid is creaking. We are seeing this everywhere. The London Stock Exchange has had outages. The air traffic control system failed last year due to a flight plan input error. And now, the budget leaks because of a URL. This is not just an IT issue, it is an economic capacity issue. We are running a Ferrari engine on a go-kart chassis. So, Hughes is out. What happens tomorrow? 1. The trust premium. Keep your eyes glued to the 10-year gilt yield. 4.48% is the current baseline. If the market senses that the next OBR chair is a political puppet installed by Reeves to rubber stamp her policies, that yield will spike to 4.6% or 4.7%. Investors demand higher returns when independent oversight disappears. 2. The sterling volatility. The pound sterling is becoming an emerging market currency in terms of behavior. It reacts violently to political news. If the review into historic releases shows that every budget in the last 5 years was accessed early, we are going to see a crisis of confidence. Were insiders trading on previous budgets too? If that news breaks, the pound drops. 3. The fiscal rules. Reeves has strict fiscal rules regarding debt and borrowing over a 5-year horizon. The OBR decides if she meets them. With a weakened OBR, the market will be skeptical. They will start doing their own math. And let me tell you, Wall Street's math is usually less forgiving than a government bureaucrat's. 4. The cyber review. Watch for the results of the National Cybersecurity Center's forensic exam. If they find that this method was used by foreign actors in the past, this moves from a financial comedy to a national security tragedy. To wrap up, let's look at the big picture. Richard Hughes did the honorable thing. In a world where politicians rarely resign for anything, he fell on his sword for a procedural error. That is respectable. But the damage is done. The boss economic world takeaway is this: information is the most valuable commodity on earth. In 2025, you cannot govern a modern economy if you cannot control your information. The UK is trying to project an image of stability. But stability isn't just about having a majority in parliament. Stability is about competence. It's about having an IT department that knows how to randomize a URL string. For those of you watching the markets, be careful. Though official release times are clearly just suggestions. The algorithms are eating the data before you even refresh the page. We are entering a period of institutional fragility. The OBR is weakened. The Chancellor is emboldened. The bond market is suspicious. And the 10-year yield is ticking up. As always, in this world, you don't get what you deserve, you get what you negotiate. And right now, the UK is negotiating from a position of weakness because it couldn't keep a secret for an extra 30 minutes. Keep your eyes on the data, not the headlines. And for the love of money, if you have sensitive documents, please put a password on them. I'm the boss. See you in the next episode.